far, so good. You finally got the light at the end of the tunnel. 2 more after this one.
So just open it up for questions.
Yeah, we're going to open it up and
Okay.
make it real simple for
Okay.
you. Okay, if everyone is ready, can someone please close that back door, please? Door malfunction. Okay, we are now joined by Tennessee coach Butch Jones, and we will start taking your questions.
Coach Jones, Jessica Evers, WIT 42 in Birmingham. What do you see in the future of a quarterback at Tennessee between the sophomore and senior?
Well, I'm excited about our quarterback position, and you know playing quarterback at the University of Tennessee is all encompassing, and the quarterback is going to be the individual who can manage our offense, play winning football, make great decisions with the football, and be a coach on the field. And you know, the quarterback position represents a legacy of success, starting with Peyton Manning, and they're the caretaker of Tennessee football. They have the ball in their hands on every snap. So I'm very, very excited and encouraged about the 3 individuals that are vying right now to be the starting quarterback at Tennessee.
Coach Doc Holliday, ABC 24 in Memphis. Just talk about year 2. How do you feel that the guys know what you expect, know what you want, know your system, and know exactly how to respond?
Well, year 2 is great, and our players now understand the standard, the expectations within our football program. Everyone's familiar with everything. You know, for us as a coaching staff, having been through an entire SEC season, just everything, familiarity from the program to our great boosters to our donors, to everything. So you can't put a price tag on experience and then have the consistency and continuity with the entire coaching staff returning. You know, it's all about consistent messaging. The players have had too much change, and so now, you know, to have that consistency in our football program, we've really been benefited by that.
Coach Amos Hollandhead, WIT 42 in Birmingham. After your first year in Tennessee, like, how important is it for Tennessee just to get back into the SEC championship and possibly representing the SEC in the college football playoff?
Well, it's critical. And, you know, Tennessee football program has a great, great tradition, obviously, and tradition of winning and a standard and an expectation of excellence. And so, you know, that's the thing we've been selling and recruiting is we want individuals that want that onus of getting Tennessee football back to its rightful place among the elite of college football. And we want it's easy to go somewhere where maybe a program's winning right now. You can be the difference. You can leave your legacy, and everything in life is about timing. And we really firmly believe that Tennessee is the right place at the right time. It's a special place. You look at the vision in terms of our facility improvements, our academic reputation, the Anderson Training Center, playing in front of 102,455, which is a Neyland Stadium, one of the most passionate fan bases in the country. It's truly a special experience.
Coach Mark Freeman, WAY out of Huntsville. What are the differences in challenges just for you as a head coach between year 1 and year 2 now?
Well, again, I think it's more, I know exactly where we're at in our football program, and it's a challenge as a first-year head coach coming in and taking over a football program. You only have 15 spring practices with your team, and 12 are padded. So you really don't know exactly where you're at. In 1 year's full-time, I know exactly where we're at from a recruiting standpoint. I know exactly where we need to be, have a better feel for the competition. What each program represents, what you're recruiting against, you know, all the things that go into building a college football program. You have that experience, you have that time now under your belt, but also for your players, you know, they understand, you know, the standard, the expectation. Our first day of practice, I had to tell our players, if you don't know where you're going, just run in place and follow somebody. And now there was a whole lot of individuals running in place where now they know exactly where they're going on the practice field. They understand once they step out on the football practice field, they understand what's expected. They understand the pace of practice, the toughness that goes along with being in our football program, the standard and expectations from an academic standpoint. We go to class. We don't miss class. We excel. We had over 5,000 hours of community service last year, and we had a 2.82 overall team GPA. So there's so many things that have gone into it. When we came into the process, we were faced with the APR iceberg in terms of we were headed to be the first college football team to suffer the penalty. And we had a perfect score in the APR, and we turned it around, and that's a thing of the past. So there's a lot of small victories that have occurred in a very short period of time.
Coach Vince Line at WRCB Chattanooga. Talk a little bit about the schedule, its perceived difficulty, and lastly, having Chattanooga back on the schedule this year.
Well, first of all, excited to play Chattanooga. It's within the great state of Tennessee. David Blackburn, their director of athletics, is a very, very close friend of mine, and respect everything that they've done in that football program. I think it'll be great for our fans and for their fan base as well. Very, very challenging schedule, to say the least. Our first three opponents are bowl champions, so we have to be able to start fast right off of training camp. And we'll be doing it with a team that's a little less than 50% are going through their first college football season. So we as a coaching staff have to make sure that they're game ready starting game one.
Coach Brian Pope, Fox 6 here in Birmingham. You had a commit tweet last week that he couldn't wait to beat Alabama's butt, to put it nicely. When you hear that kind of talk from people associated with your program, what goes through your mind? Do you like that kind of talk?
Well, I can't comment on that individual. He's a recruited student athlete right now, but I think it's the passionate fan base that we have, and you know, our players, they understand the magnitude and the relevance of the Tennessee-Alabama rivalry. I think that was mainly out of respect for their program and what they've done. I have tremendous respect for Alabama and Coach Saban and what they've been able to accomplish. But again, it's our job to start making this rivalry more relevant and competitive and moving forward.
Hunter Mandel with Bleacher Report. Can you talk about the early enrollees, how they've been adjusting, your first impression of them on campus?
Well, we were really aided and benefited by having 14 mid-year enrollees, and they changed the whole dynamic, structure, competitive fabric of our football program. And they walked in day one, they were humble, and they were just ready to work. And they did an exceptional job in the classroom with their first semester. They've been a great resource for the other signing class coming in of what to expect. And I think our older players did a great job, again, of embracing them and really teaching them the standard and expectations now that are in place in our football program. But they're very, very talented. I think the other thing that has been critical in this signing class is the addition in this signing class of the 6 legacy players whose fathers were great players for the University of Tennessee. They understand the rivalries with Florida. They understand the rivalry with Georgia, within the Eastern Conference. They understand Alabama. They understand that. They understand the standards, the expectations. They understand our great fan base and the privilege that it is to represent our institution. So our legacy players have also been a great addition within that recruiting class.
Hi, Butch. Paul Jones with Fox 17. As Big Orange roll into another SEC Media Days, it's your second. It sounds like the players are better having a year under your belt, under their belt with you. Are you a better coach now that you have a year under your belt at Tennessee?
Yes, and you better be. The minute you stop improving as a football coach, you've stopped winning. And so everything is about personal growth and development, whether you're a player in our program or whether you're a coach. And you have to continue to research and you have to continue to work to get better and better each and every day. And it starts with me. I'm the caretaker of Tennessee football, and it starts with being better. We must be a better football team and a better football program than we were last year at this point in time.
Hey, Coach. Marissa Martin, ESPNU. Having to rebuild both lines this offseason can't be easy, but who has stood out for you thus far on either side?
Well, it all starts with our center, Matt Crowder. He's here representing us today. And we talk about consistency and performance each and every day. And Mac has a very high level of consistency. Having Marcus Jackson back, he's an individual that has some game experience for us in the offensive line. We made a program decision trying to look in the crystal ball of a year ahead of us last year at this time of what could happen. So we were able to redshirt him and gain his year of eligibility. facility, so he has 2 years now remaining. So to be able to have him back has been critical. And then, Dontavius Blair is a junior college player that continues to develop. Nathan Gilliam was a walk-on that we awarded a scholarship, and very deservingly so. Again, he had a great spring for us. And then Coleman Thomas will be a true freshman that's going to be forced to play early. Kyle Kerbison continues to develop as well. The defensive front we spoke about earlier today is the addition of gaining back Kurt Majit. He'll add an edge presence for us, and we'll be able to be multiple with him defensively, of being in a 3-point, a 2-point. Jordan Williams is an individual who's a senior out of Gainesville, Florida, who's had a tremendous offseason. He's added the necessary weight, so he's continued to improve. So I'm very encouraged by those individuals.
Sandy Hooper, USA Today Sports. What do you think are some of your keys for success going into this next season?
The whole key is how can we manage the natural adversities that come about with a full football season. With half of our football team going through their first college football season, how can we manage the natural adversities? Can we stay focused on the task at hand? When we talk about the power of one, winning one moment at a time, one rep at a time, one day at a time, one practice at a time, never getting ahead of ourselves. That's going to be critical in moving forward with this team.
Coach, you're the only team in the nation to lose all your starters on the offensive and
You guys have
defensive
to keep
lines.
reminding me of this.
I know. But how difficult is that to overcome in a league like this?
Well, it's a great challenge, especially when you're talking about a line of scrimmage league that's the Southeastern Conference. It's a great challenge in and of itself, but our approach is simply, it's also a great opportunity. We have a number of individuals who have waited for their turn. Hey, now's your turn. Let's go. Matt Crowder's one of those individuals. Even though he'll be a first-year starter, he's worked exceptionally hard in the offseason to put himself in this opportunity to be our center. The same thing with Marcus Jackson, the same thing with Jordan Williams. So, I think we'll be much more athletic up front defensively. We'll have to move the front maybe a little bit more. But I like the mentality and the work ethic of both lines. And you know what? I like flying a little bit under the radar. I like everyone questioning what we can and can't do. That's a great source of motivation. If you're an individual that has any pride at all, you warrant that and you take that to heart, and that drives you each and every day.
Coach Bernicelli at WATE in Knoxville. The BCS, very lucrative for college football and in a lot of ways successful. Given that, how exciting is the playoff that begins this year moving forward for college football as a whole?
Well, it's very exciting for college football. It's exciting for the game. It's exciting for our great fan bases, to have a 4-game playoff. But the other thing I've been very, very pleased with is we kept basically the bowl system intact. And, it's still about rewarding the teams and the fan bases with the bowl games, and bowl games are very, very, very special. So to be able to have the bowl system and the playoff, I think it's the best of both worlds. I know it's added a lot of excitement to the game of football, and as we know, if anything, you're always constantly evolving. You're always constantly trying to make things better, and I think we've improved our game.
Coach Doc Holliday again. When you take over a program, you immediately assess what kind of talent, what kind of players you have, and of course you want to get your own recruits. But back then, how many players did you have then and now that your type of players, the type of players you want, at Tennessee?
Well, the way I look at it is they're all our players because they're all University of Tennessee football players, but there's a standard and there's an expectation that goes along with playing football the way we want to play football. The way we conduct ourselves in the classroom, how we conduct ourselves in the community. And so our players have done a great job, and we're well on our way. I love this football team. They've worked exceptionally hard to this point in time. I know they're looking forward to it, and there's a whole monumental shift culturally. I walk in the office at 7 o'clock the other night, and our entire defensive line are in their workout shorts and workout gear working out together on their own. And some of the leaders called, a workout together, and we always talk about it's better to be a player coach team than a coach team. And the great teams are driven internally with their players, and they hold each other accountable. And that's what's going on at Tennessee right now. The buy-in is big, the care factor is big, and you can feel that energy and that momentum every time you walk in our building.
Hi, Coach. I'm Chloe Allen with WVTM in Birmingham. Tell me, how big of an adjustment was it to you to enter the SEC, and how different is the conference now?
Well, you know, coaching is coaching. You're still dealing with 17 to 22-year-old individuals, but there's a reason why the SEC is the best football conference in the country. And again, it's the daily demands from recruiting to your off-season development, to training camp, to competitions, and everything is about competing for greatness. And you know, this is an unforgiving league. There's great coaches. There are no weaknesses. There are no weak teams. Everyone's always searching for that competitive edge, that competitive advantage, whether it's facility improvements, whether it's the hiring of different personnel and the structure of your organization. The SEC never stands still.
Butch, Paul Jones again from Fox 17 in Nashville. Of course, winning championships, that's the ultimate goal. What's the next realistic step, though, for your program? Is it that, or is it something prior to that?
I think it's constant evolvement in evolving as a football program and improving day to day. You know, we have to focus on the process. We can't worry about the end result. If we just become a better football team day in and day out, if every individual is accountable for their actions on and off the field, and they work to be the best that they can possibly be, it'll come. You know, it's happened. Prior to coming here, we won 4 championships in 6 years. That approach has never changed. You know, you want competitive individuals that want to be the best that they can be, that they have an edge. You know, we always talk to our players about, you know, your last name is your personal brand. What does your last name stand for? Whether it's, you know, in the classroom, every time you sign a test or a paper, a quiz, an exam, you sign your name to it. It's the same thing with practice. They sign their name to practice, and that's your personal brand. You know, what's your edge? So we always talk about that. And if you have your program that's comprised of competitive individuals that want to be the best at what they do, it'll all take place. That's part of the process.
Dave Keelan, Fox 61 Chattanooga. Coach, you have some guys who are upperclassmen now who are no strangers to having to be these guys that step in and make an impact right away. Who are some of the leaders that are bringing up these younger guys, and who are some of the younger guys who you expect to make an impact this season?
Well, it starts with Kurt Maggitt, which we spoke about earlier. You know, he's done a great job of not only holding himself accountable, but holding others around them accountable. A.J. Johnson's the same way. You know, before A.J. Johnson was too quiet for me. You know, he's the middle linebacker, and we've really challenged him, and he's been leading not only by his actions, but, you know, you have to lead with your voice. You know, you have to make everyone else accountable around you, and he's done a great job of that. Matt Crowder, another individual who continues to lead. All 3 quarterbacks. You know, one of the great things for us is the quarterbacks, with being so young, they've all 3 of them have taken ownership in terms of improving their leadership skills. So that's aided our entire football team. You know, Marquez North, even though he's only in his 2nd year in the program, we've really challenged him to be more of a vocal leader. You know, same thing with Jordan Williams, who now is a senior. Hey, now's your time. Take advantage of it and lead. You know, hold everyone around you accountable. And, you know, the mark of great players, the mark of great leaders is they elevate the play of others around them. And so I can see that happening within our football team. It's still too young in terms of the youngsters or who's really going to step up. I will tell you this, all 32 are going to have a tremendous opportunity ahead of them to impact this football team.
Final question.
Gerhard Mathengani with WEAC over in Oxford in the Anniston area. We said earlier that Dontavius Blair was one of the best kept secrets from our area. What have you seen in his 2 years or his 1 year down at Tennessee?
Well, Dontavius continues to really improve. He's done well in the classroom academically. He's really changed his body structure. He's worked exceptionally hard in the weight room. And so we really expect him to challenge to be our starting left tackle. But he's made tremendous strides since he came in January, and he continues to improve and get better and better.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.